What's up, guys? John CC here. Welcome to another week of trading, and welcome to the fifth episode of The Open, a weekly series hosted by me every Monday for the weekly Open, where we break down and discuss technical analysis of Bitcoin and what we can expect for the coming week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate the fact that everyone has helped made The Open successful. We're on our fifth episode, and today I would like to do a special altcoin review. We'll dive into some of your favorite selected altcoins and chart them and see what we can expect for the coming week. But first of all, let's jump into Bitcoin really quickly. We had a pretty strong weekly close up to about 11,500. Taking a look at the weekly, I'm still not sure whether or not this wave 4 correction is over yet. So I'm still targeting the 17 to 20K, and I still believe that we'll get there, but I'm not quite sure whether or not this 4 is completed. So you already know this count. What I'm looking at right now is a possibility of this 4 still being a triangle. As you can see from these 3 wicks, we hit perfectly every single time. So yeah, we have a trend line forming, guys. So I'm not quite sure whether or not this correction is completed. But you can also correct an ABC here as a 3-wave move. So this could be an A, this could be a B, and we could come down C, D, E before making our way up. Not quite sure. So if we do get this triangle, I do think that we could get a potential alt swing. I'm not so sure right now, but we saw Matic do a crazy, I believe like 80, 90%. So yeah, let's just jump right into this. If we're looking at the resistances right here, it looks like we closed right at this order block right here, this wick. So this was a resistance, and you can tell that right here was a resistance. So naturally what I'm targeting for the next move up is anywhere between here and here. So we should get some sort of move up here. And our support is going to be in this area right here. As you can tell, this is an order block from here, 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 and here. So these are the resistances I'm looking at. Obviously, if we're able to hold this area, I'm going to be targeting this initially, and then here as the breakouts. So want to jump over to the daily. We're going to do a crypto watch chart for this one. This looks like some sort of potential triangle. This could have been an A wave. Here's a 1, 2, 3 B. And if we come up here and we're going to start rejecting at this point and make our way down, I'm going to think that this triangle is actually coming into play. So what we want to see is decreasing volume in the triangle, which we are seeing right here. Look at this chart. We are above the 50 and 20 moving averages, the Bollinger Band on the daily. The bands are forming outwards, which means that here, this is curling up and this is forming outwards, which means that direction is starting to go in a bullish bias. But volume isn't really there right now, and this triangle is just glaring me at the face. So if this isn't a triangle, what we can expect is this to be the A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be the wave 4 correcting end here, and then this would be a 1, 2, 1, 2 maybe, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not quite sure yet. So on Friday, we had probably the biggest fake out. I was long. I know a lot of other people were long. The bullish fervor was just building. And instead of getting this triangle A, B, C, D, E with the breaks out to the upside, we got completely faked out. We had a triangle that broke to the downside. We ended up tapping this order block support again here and here. And it ended up holding up pretty well. We ended up coming back up to retest this resistance, and then we're coming back down. So I'm a little bit baffled. I really don't know what this count is. Me personally, I'm still counting it as a extended third within an extension. So this would be a wave 4, wherever this has ended, if this is ending right here. And I do think that we will make our way up for the third leg relatively soon. So if we end up breaking here, this point, this entire complex gets invalidated because the wave 4 ends up retracing into this wave 1 category. I was also thinking that this could be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, but this wave count doesn't really suggest that. I think that maybe if we put the 3 here, and this isn't a running flat, we have the 4 ending here, so then the 5 ends up coming here, 3 ends up here, and then this as a 4, making this our 5 and this our 3. So this actually could be a 1 and then a 2, but I don't think that this is a wave 4. I think that this is a 1, 2, 3. This ends up being a 1, 2, 3 ABC running flat. So it ends up looking like this instead. Last but not least, I want to take a look into the algo that I've been using. So I've been experimenting with this algo that Golden Boy wrote up, and it's been working pretty well. We got faked out here, which is the reason why I was long here, and then I quickly closed once we turned short around here. I ended up being able to get out and profit. Just I wasn't seeing things line up the way that I wanted to, and I saw my edges starting to lose strength. So I just got out of the trade and just starting to wait for clarity. So we got another long signal last night. I am currently in a long. I entered this morning, and the algo and the bot entered in for me last night. I added some this morning. I do see that wave trend is curling up right now, so I think that we do have a chance of moving our way up. I'm still seeing a lot of mixed signals in terms of TA. Like there's a potential this triangle forming, the decreasing volume, but I'm just not really sure at the moment. So what I'm gonna do is, of course, I was originally planning to do a swing trade, but I think I'm just gonna be playing day trades and scalps. I do like that the algo is long. I have a pretty decent entry. I think the average is about 11,400. So I'm gonna ride this out until the algo flips on me. If the price ends up moving down to 11,150, then I will be stopped out of my long. But I am liking what I'm seeing in terms of the momentum starting to favor up. We are still in a bullish structure. We're above the AMAs. We are still doing well. Just a matter of whether or not we're going to get some volume. Funding has also gone down. Open interest has gone down a little bit. So things are kind of cooling off, consolidating. And so if we can get a nice little push up and get some volume coming in, I do believe that we'll break out of whatever this is and still make our way up as the algo is long. It's just all a matter of whether or not we can get enough momentum. For the moment, I will say that I do not want to be bearish at the moment. I'd rather be bullish. I think that we are on the cusp of something of a huge run coming up, just basically because of this wave count that I mentioned before. Probably done the wave for correction. I'm not sure yet. If this does end up being a triangle, yeah, it still pays to be bullish, but we will have a probably correction down to this 10,000 level. But I'm just not seeing it at the moment because of all the bullish structures that are setting up. But overall, I'm on the fence, so I'm going to just let the algo play me out and kind of take it easy for the next couple of weeks, because August has not been a good month historically for Bitcoin, and price hasn't been moving too well. So if we do want an alt season, what we need is for Bitcoin dominance to fall. I've covered this chart a few times already, and for those unfamiliar, it looks like Bitcoin dominance is finished. That's what I had thought. So we had the wave 1 coming up out of here, the 2, 3, some long triangle for the 4, and I thought that the 5 would end here and would not breach this resistance, this 70% mark, but we ended up breaching this resistance and hit 71, 72%, and now it's retesting this resistance as support. So I'm not quite sure how to count this yet. This could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this could be the end. I'm not quite sure. We had this divergence before that played out pretty well. And so we came down and we had a small alt run, but it didn't really follow through. So I'm not too convinced. I don't know if there's enough retail that's pushing alts through. We saw Matic go up, but I find Matic to be really unreliable in terms of an indicator for alt season. I just feel like every trader on Binance is just playing Matic because it's mooning. Everyone on their phones, it's just not a really good indicator. So good news for this chart is that on the wave trend, we have a bullish bearish indicator. So this could go down, but this could also fake and go up. I'm not sure yet. I really don't know based on this chart alone, but the fact that we have broken this resistance is not a good thing. So next resistance that we'll be eyeing will probably be around here. So if we do end up breaking this resistance, obviously we're going to keep going up, but the wave count looks over. This has to be some sort of extended fifth. I'm not sure yet. I don't have a lot of clarity because I don't know how to count this portion, and I'm not really going to really try to bother. I'm just going to focus on the momentum, and it seems like momentum is slowing down for Bitcoin dominance. So what we'll see should be a slight drop off followed by a wick up, and then a more forceful move down. So keeping an eye on this, if we do want an alt season, we need to come down pretty soon. I do see slowing momentum, but I'm not so convinced yet. We're going to need to see a bit more force down, and that could be a result of Bitcoin kind of consolidating in a range. But if Bitcoin's blasting off like I think it could do, alt season is definitely going to be delayed once again. Just want to take time real quick and thank everyone for their engagement. I put this tweet out yesterday and it already hit 27 comments. I really do appreciate everyone's likes, your retweets, and just commenting whenever I put something out there. I find it really humbling that you find my material helpful. So thank you guys so much for engaging with me, interacting with me, and I hope that this material continues to be helpful for you guys. So first on the docket, let's start with ICX. It's probably been the biggest disappointment of my alt holdings. I bought in around 20 cents in February, and we're back at 20 cents. And yeah, I did not sell one bit. I held it the entire time because I personally think that ICX is super undervalued, but it doesn't seem so based on what traders are saying. So let's try to take this from a trader's perspective, not from a holder's perspective, not talking about fundamentals, strictly looking at the technicals. I've heard some weird things about LA token. I'm not so sure what's up with them, but the volume is pretty nice from here. But this is atrocious. 702,000 on Binance. That's really bad. So let's take a look here. So here's an ICX chart on the daily. If we take a look at this, it looks pretty bad, but this looks like to me an accumulation range. You have your range low here, range high, and I just can't believe that from February we retraced nearly 100% of the entire move. So is the project dead? No, there are so many great things that are happening fundamentally with ICX, but from a technical perspective, no one wants to buy it. So my theory is that this has all been some sort of crazy accumulation. The volume is pretty bad. It's been going down. So what we want to see from ICX, if it is going to make a move up, which I do believe that eventually it should, volume should come in drastically and it should start picking up really fast. So this to me looks like a clear accumulation schematic on the Wyckoff. What we have here is our phase A. This would be our phase B. And here, this creek is what I call this position right here. So boom, 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 just like this. And this looks like to me that we're going to form this 8, 9, 10 move. So we're now in phase C. And so what we can expect is us to push up out of here, come down a little bit for phase D, and then start making our way up. This is going to be our first resistance. And once we clear this, there's no resistances above. So I really can't find anyone that's going to be a seller after we breach this point. It's all a matter of, is ICX going to do something? Are people going to buy because it's doing something? I'm not going to talk about the fundamentals. You can do your own Google search on that. But this is what I'm seeing from a technical perspective. Volume sucks. It's not being traded. But the coin is still alive. Don't think that it's dead. The project is still doing a lot of great things. So in conclusion, I do believe that ICX is going to start making a way up soon. Looks like we're going to probably do one more move like this. A little bit longer consolidation. We should see volume picking up. If volume doesn't pick up, we're in trouble. But if volume does pick up, which I do believe we will get as we move towards staking, we'll see something like this, a slight sell-off, and then start making our way up. So moving on to ADA, Cardano. Cardano looks pretty decent actually. We had the support. We had the support hold up here. This order block. Resistances we're eyeing are here, and this looks like more like a midpoint resistance. So color this in red. And then we have, of course, our big resistance, which is here at 10 cents. So count-wise, I'm seeing this as a 1, 2, 3, 4 ending diagonal 5. And this looks like, to me, some sort of ABC. I'm not quite sure if this correction is over yet. Let me take off log. Yeah, this ABC looks a little bit weird to me, but what I do like is that this could be a potential divergence on the wave trend. It does go a little bit lower, so it's kind of invalid. But there is a potential for this to be a divergence. I do like that in the wave trend, we are very, very oversold, and we now have a bullish indicator, so we could get a pop up. This support held up here, which is really, really good. And so this looks like a primary wave 1, and this could be the wave 2. And we can be starting our wave 3, 4, 5. Take a looking at volume. Volume is increasing. This is actually a really good sign. And we had an increase here. Still relatively low. So what we need to do is, of course, we gotta claim this hurdle up here. Probably this is our range. This would be our midpoint. So if we can come up, claim this range, then we can make our way through. Notice that there's a pretty big gap on the VPVR from here to here. So if we can clear this immediate resistance, we have a good chance of coming up and hitting this block up here. So last thing I want to check are the EMAs. EMAs are still below, but we're relatively close. And what I like about these EMAs is that they aren't too far apart. So it indicates that price is contracting in a bit of a range. So we do have a good chance of us meeting these EMAs. Probably what I expect is we test this red and then do something like this while these EMAs become resistances. And then we should get enough volume, we could get a push up out. So I am also back holding Cardano. I bought around here, January and February. And yeah, I haven't sold it. I'm just waiting for a bigger push. And I think that we might get it, guys. I think this is the 1, this is the 2, and of course 3, 4, 5, and 3 should be the largest. So I'm remaining bullish on Cardano. I think it has a good chance of going up. So next up on the list is Litecoin. The first thing that pops up to me on Litecoin, and this is the first time I've seen Litecoin chart in probably 2 or 3 days, is the fact that we have a potential head shoulders here. It doesn't seem like we have broken this neckline quite yet, but we did bounce off here. If I take a look at this wave trend, so we had a bearish period here coming down after the halving. We had this bearish period, and wave trend is technically still bearish, but right here is what we call a pivot point in the wave trend. So when you have a pivot point, it decides whether or not it's going to continue going down, or if it's going to give you that green dot and flip and go up. So I can't say for certainty what's going to happen until the pivot point kind of plays out. But this is what the daily is showing me right now. If we take a look, looks like we have some support here on this order block. And we are facing resistance here on this order block. So this looks like to be the range that we're playing in. If we take a look at the 2 hour, I will turn on an algo that I use for Litecoin on the 2 hour. And the algo is currently giving us a long signal. I'm not in this trade right now, but we do have a long signal from around $85. The wave trend on the 2 hour looks like it's about to correct a little bit. This is in the overbought territory. So I do expect this to come down a little bit here. But it looks like we have some support here. So we should come down, and once the algo is long, it stays long for quite a while. I don't know what's going on technically behind Litecoin, fundamentally, But if we take a look at CoinMarketCap, yeah, the volume is so great. But ever since halving kind of died down, it still looks like on the daily that we didn't form this head shoulders, and we are probably going to get what I think is a bullish pivot point because the algo is long. And last but not least, let's take a look at EMAs. So EMAs are telling a different story. We are under the 200, which is very, very bearish. And it looks like we are struggling to make our way above. If we don't close above this 200 EMA, this blue line, then it's going to look really bearish, and I expect this pivot point to turn down. But if we do cross above the 200 EMA and we close, then I can see something like this forming, and we could get more bullish momentum. Just keep in mind, we have the head and shoulders, but yeah, it hasn't been broken yet. Just got to keep an eye on it. All right, guys, so taking a look next into EOS. Based on the weekly, I had this count done a long time ago. Yeah, so we hit the wave one here. This is definitely the top. But if I'm looking at this count right now, it looks like this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this could actually be an A leg of the correction. What we could have now is a B, and we could still come down for a C. So based on EOS alone, I'm really not liking what I'm seeing. I haven't been trading EOS. It's been probably like a month or two since I traded EOS. And yeah, the volume is pretty weak. So unless there's something fundamentally coming, I don't see any like strong moves coming for EOS. I do believe that we will come down lower based on this count. If we take a look at lower time frames, so if we take a look at the daily, it does look like we hit a support here. So the daily actually looks pretty promising. I know the weekly looks bad. So the count could be that this is an AB and then this is a C, like a WXY type of move. This looks very, very bearish on the weekly, but on the daily looks pretty decent. Looks like this is potentially a W bottom. I'm just going to ignore the count here and just focus strictly on PA. Wave trend is now forming a higher low, but this isn't a divergence yet, but this is a W bottom, so it looks pretty good. If we want to clear this, if we want to kind of make our way up, ideally we need to break through this order block here, previous high. So this is going to be our resistance that we need to overcome for EOS. The lack of volume is what's concerning me. So a lot of alts look pretty decent, but there isn't enough volume coming in, which makes me think that we're going to get a nice push up. And I mentioned this in my post about Link. If we take a look at Link real quick, so the structure on Link looks pretty good too. We have a W bottom, but there's no volume. There's a lot of room on the Stoke, there's a lot of room on the RSI, but there's been no volume. It's just been declining. So unless we see something, a fundamental push coming, some sort of partnership, another Google announcement, I really don't see a lot of plays for, coins like Link or EOS making a run up soon. So there is room, I'll say that, but until we see a movement of volume, I am not going to remain bullish on these alts. So guys, thanks for tuning in. Unfortunately, this is all the time I have left for today. I need to edit this video now and upload it. I will try and actually do a second video for all the alts that I missed. I know I was only able to cover 4, but overall, I'm remaining bullish on Bitcoin. I think that with dominance potentially ending soon, I know I've said this 3 or 4 times before, I think that we could get an alt run. I've been playing Matic. It's been working out pretty well. I like what I'm seeing on a lot of alt setups. It looks like we've capitulated. All we need now is a little bit of volume to take us over the resistances, and we can start an actual alt season. So guys, wishing you all a great trading week. Stay safe, and always remember, let the profits come to you.